All right, thank you, everybody. I'm glad to see the great energy during the break. We're going to go ahead and get back to our programming. As I told you previously, we're going to have two panels before our closing remarks. And our first panel discussion is on the Kumamoto Semiconductor ecosystem. And our moderator is Ms. Emiko Higashi, who is the Managing Director of Tomon Partners, a mergers and acquisitions and strategy consulting firm. Ms. Higashi sits on a number of semiconductor industry boards, including KLA, Rambus, and Rapidus. She has also been asked to serve in METI's Industrial Policy Council. She started her career at McKinsey before shifting to investment banking, including stints at Wassertein Perella and Merrill Lynch. She also co-founded and led a technology-focused venture capital firm. And Ms. Higashi is also my fellow Japan Society of Northern California board member. Ms. Higashi will take care of introducing the other panelists. So right now I will turn it over to you, Emiko.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Am I between this and the cocktail or something afterwards? So I'm going to try to make this as really fun and exciting as possible. So let me, I think Kato-san does not need an introduction. You just listen to his very interesting technology and business presentation for Denso. And then next to Kato-san is Miyake-san. I was intrigued that he is both the vice president of Kumamoto University as well as Ritsumeikan University. So two very prominent universities in Japan, one in, as you heard earlier from others, in Kumamoto, Kyushu, and Ritsumeikan is in Kyoto. So he splits his time between those two cities, and you will hear what he has to say about how Kumamoto's university's ecosystem is built. And John does not need my introduction, but just on a personal note, John and I met, I don't know, 10 years ago, before AI, before data centers sort of bubbled, but he asked me to be on the board of Japan Society. That's how we met. But here we are, talking about semiconductors. Our favorite subject. So, John, are you going first? Okay, please.
So first, thank you, everyone. We'll have two presenters. I'll speak first, and then Professor Miyake. Before I get into my presentation, a quick little bit of academic bonus content. So, nerds in the room, show of hands if you've ever heard the concept triple helix framework. Oh, wow, not bad. Of course, Richard's name is hand, right? So you have academia, industry, government. They work in tandem. Sometimes the academy might kickstart. Sometimes the government might kickstart. Sometimes power shifts over time, as President Lin talked about earlier, and thus academia and government are in the position of trying to induce or modify or entice in some way. So our first three keynotes really embodied that. So hopefully that came through, right? And depending on where we are, depending on the stage of technology development, academia might be dominant. If we're in more of a commercialization stage, right, industry might be dominant. So hopefully that came through. Second quiz, what is the Cal mascot? Louder? Louder? All right, what do we say when we get together? Okay, God, you are quiet. It must be hot. Let's try that. Okay, go there. Now, deeper trivia. What is the Kumamoto University mascot? Can't answer. What was that? Excellent. So what happens when Cal and Kumamoto get together? We say go Bears. Excellent. So anyway, now you've passed. You've passed the quiz. All right, so I'm going to get into my prepared remarks. Nishikawa-san was very humble in that he didn't show that he was in the room a couple weeks ago. When CC Wei and a group from TSMC visited Japan. If you look in the far right, you'll see a familiar face and profile. That's Mr. Nishikawa there, part of the delegation receiving CC Wei. You'll see the CEO of TSMC Japan on CC Wei's right. And so I'm starting from present day, right? The current state of what seems to be an endeavor that's gone well, which is a group from TSMC visiting and saying, we're actually not only going to build in Kumamoto, we're going to turn it into a gigafab. The term gigafab means something, right? Usually, if you look at TSMC closely, most sites will have more than one generation. TSMC calls them P1, P2, P3, for example. In some locations, there are 5, there are 8 in Tainan, for example. So it implies that you know, I guess the best in the growth is yet to come for Kumamoto in a lot of ways. The work that Mr. Nishikawa and others have been doing, I'd say so far so good. And if anything, the vector seems to be up on the right. So with that, I want to get into a little bit about my own work, which is this. This talk, this event, is actually one deliverable out of a few for a project I've been working on since November 2024, which is an assessment of Japan's reinvestment in its semiconductor industry and the tactics and means to do so. Another one is a paper in progress with Professor Miyake and team at Kumamoto. And the third one, which we'll get into later, is the assessment for a more responsive logic foundry. And if that sounds like Rapidus, well, then you're going to hear about Rapidus and Henry in just a moment. So this is one, and thank you all for being part of this, right? So a project that started just in November 2024 has borne a lot of fruit. A little bit of timeline, the first announcement that we heard about, TSMC and Sony together announcing a special technology fab, as we heard about earlier, not leading edge, specific generations, mainly for imaging and automotive applications, joint venture with industry investment. Denso's investment then announced. Japan passed the Economic Security Promotion Act that Nishikawa-san talked about in his remarks, and it's really broad. And as the name might imply, CHIPS here was really to induce production. Economic Security Promotion Act, you know, the goal is in the title. In a lot of ways is to protect, augment, and grow. And so a very different framing, and the scope goes beyond semiconductors in a lot of ways. Rapidus was announced, and you'll hear more from Rapidus shortly. And then our story gets a little more personal, which is the Minister of METI came to campus about 2.5 years ago. Mr. Nishimoto is here pictured with Dean Chapman. And we got the chance to ask him what he thought about the Rapidus initiative. And boy, did he talk at length. It was awesome. So you could tell it meant something to him. And actually, Jay, our moderator for the next panel, was in the room and asked that question of him. And then JASM comes to operation in December 2024. A few things I was trying to answer in research. Okay, why Kumamoto? Like, what's there? What's already there? Is this a cold start? Is it a warm start? What can be augmented? What are some of the other pits that might impact that decision? And if the fab is being built, for what value chain? Fabs are measured by utilization, right? You don't just build the building, right? So that's not easy, but it's the real work of customer management, operations, integration, supply chains follows. So the fab is only the beginning. So for what value chain? Is it existing or is it new? What capabilities will it add? And we heard a lot of their first logic FinFET fab in Japan, right? Other players had exited largely at 40 nanometer, so it was a 10-year gap was being spanned, as Mr. Nishikawa talked about. But also the foundry is the beginning. Where are the people going to come from, right? What job creation will it induce? What's that multiplier? If the fab's going to employ 1,700 people, you can anticipate probably a 5x multiplier effect in the local traded sector, so the local economy. So that means 8,500 more jobs, most likely. So what are those, for example? And then what will the economic and supply chain impact and benefit be? So last 2 Novembers ago, Leia and I hosted Jetro and the consulate here at campus, and that was kind of our kickstart, laid out a menu, and we got to work. And in May, I visited Professor Miyake and colleagues, if you could put your hands up here, Fukuda-san, Toyama-san, who graciously hosted me in Kumamoto. I also went north to Hokkaido as well, and then back again. We have some folks from Tohoku here. I visited them this past December. But in terms of what I was looking for, right, I was looking not just for industry, but the state of supply, the state of labor, state of transport, state of academic institutions, cost of living and cost of supply is relevant, supplier base, governance, which is how things get decided, right? Is there coordination? And culture. Culture matters. Are you a welcoming place that people want to move to or not? Right? And the traffic between Kumamoto and Taiwan is noteworthy. That existed before the fab, but that would fall under the culture domain. And then obviously transportation infrastructure are basically capacity. So you can think of all these as, are they multipliers greater than 1? Right? Is culture a 2? Is culture a 0.5? Right? So think of these all as contributing, hopefully positively, to the ecosystem around the foundry. Right? The foundry is the beginning. So I showed up in May, was able to visit with a variety of faculty. So thank you to my gracious host for helping set that up. And in particular, got to hear about how the institution was scaling up semiconductor curricula for undergrads, masters, researchers, and for professionals, right? So workforce development for the community. So the academic institution is taking the surrounding industry stimulus and say, okay, we need to scale up, we need to meet. If TSMC needs 500 people, where are they going to come from, right? How do we accelerate that growth? So got to hear about that. Visit the town of Kikuyo, which is what you're seeing on the upper right. They're the town where the JASM fab is. Sony Semiconductor is right next door, Tokyo Electron's up the road. And then the prefecture, which is the long, narrow photo. And they graciously hosted me to talk about energy, infrastructure, transit, kind of all the things that make the community and ecosystem work, and if there were measures being taken to expand that capacity in some way. So, and then the picture that I had been sitting on for 9 months. TSMC graciously hosted me not only in their Kanagawa headquarters, but for a visit to the JASM fab and the public kind of viewing area. I didn't have to wear a bunny suit, right? But the CEO, Horita-san, graciously took out time of his very busy schedule to meet with a visiting member of Berkeley faculty. So if John Zeisman is here, shout out to him and to Philip Huang at Stanford for helping make that so. One doesn't just simply show up at JASM. So they were very gracious in helping make that meeting come together. But I haven't published this photo anywhere. So you are getting a sneak peek. It's not in the socials, it's not on LinkedIn, not on Substack. So first reveal, a lot of fun, very, very interesting meeting and discussion of hiring, scale up, use of water, energy. Implied was supply chain. He never said customer names. TSMC is far too close-mouthed for that. But you can also see it's a little bit of fine print on the map. Literally, TSMC is next door to Sony Semiconductor. And you can intuit that a maker of imaging sensors is working closely with its foundry partner. So why there and what then? And so here I provided a 2x2 on the semiconductor ecosystem. Upper left, industry history. First logic fab was actually almost 60 years ago, Mitsubishi Electric. Tokyo Electron moved there in 1983. Sony Semiconductor put R&D in a lab there in 2001. This is not Kumamoto's first rodeo, so to speak, with a logic foundry. Supplier presence, Sony itself, its R&D is there. TEL has its R&D headquarters. They just expanded, so added basically a second building. But also gas and materials, water purification, machining tools, a variety there. Tokuoka Kyokyo, for example, all have offices nearby. Fabs take energy and water a lot. And so it's interesting that Kyushu and Kumamoto actually is 40 to 60% nuclear. So 40% is daytime, 60% is nighttime. Great base load for industry, right? And TSMC was able to actually say, hey, it's a green fab because it's mostly run on nuclear power. So that was meaningful to TSMC as a constituent. Kumamoto has a lot of rainfall, and you may wonder why rainfall is relevant. Remember, Intel is building in Chandler, Arizona, which gets maybe 9 inches of rain a year. Kumamoto doesn't have that problem, right? 80 inches of rain. The mountain nearby is like 90 to 100 inches of rain if I do it in inches. About 3,000 millimeters on the neighboring mountain. And aquifers. Now, this is actually also a sensitive spot because the water is actually from groundwater. But TSMC, to my visit to them, was very careful to talk about how they're being very thoughtful constituent of water, the water purification measures they're taking on. I think the tagline was every drop of water is used 3.5 times. That was said several times during my visit. So I would put that as a positive, right? Much as it is for Hillsboro, Oregon, here in the States. And then importantly, what then? Okay, so $244 business expansions or new businesses since the announcement. So the announcement is 2021. We are now in early 2026. So 224, 93 from Taiwan, right, have come and set up nearby. And interestingly, anecdotally, I don't have robust statistical data for this yet, so I need to do that next. But anecdotes about people commuting 2 hours, right, to go work because of the wages, because of the work, because it's interesting, right? And for that reason, roads and highways are actually not being expanded in the area. So the multiplier effect is definitely happening. And that takes us forward, or it takes us back to present day. The announcement that came basically 3 weeks ago, when C.C. Wei and group came to Japan, met with Prime Minister Takaichi to say not only fab, but gigafab, right, which is a whole connotation unto itself. So what to derive, what to look forward, site selection first. Agglomeration effects were already there. That's the economist term for clustering, and have been incredibly amplified. And then a lot of very positive factor conditions in terms of energy, water, land, for example. The Fab 1 in terms of value plan supply chains supports existing imaging and automotive supply chains, as we heard earlier, but also enabled a 10-year leap forward. So Mr. Kato was too shy to talk about this, but you can imagine that ADAS systems got better, for example, right, by that leap forward. And so the technology diffusion benefits into industry are also meaningful. Fab 2, so what TSMC would call Fab 23P2, has been upgraded for what was supposed to be 6 nanometer to 3. And that's really used by, NVIDIA, Apple, AMD, actually, ironically, Intel as well, while they get their fabs up. So that's the significance of moving to that generation. It really becomes more of a global production node at the leading edge. Now, all of this is a human capital opportunity, right? And so for that, I will stop here. Our joint report is underway, and I will turn things over to Professor Miyake, who's going to talk about the same phenomenon, but from a human capital and research development standpoint. So with that, Professor Miyake. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Masato Miyake from the Kumamoto Universities. John has already explained to the Kumamoto has a good character for the bear. So the Berkeley has also the bear. So I'm so happy to collaborate. And Nishika-san says the global friends. Maybe I hope to the good friends with Berkeley and the Kumamoto universities. You can see to this slide is Kumamoto Daigaku is Kumamoto University. Kumamoto is a kanji character in the top of the slide. Is Kuma is bear. So I have a big mistake to this slide because it's much better to the Kumamon in the Kumamoto is a nice character in this one. Here is our president. So it's much better to the Kumamon is here like this. So the Kumamon is famous in the Kumamoto Prefecture's characters. Anyway, so I introduced to the Kumamoto universities. Kumamoto University is established in 1949, and we have the 8 schools and 6 graduate schools. And the student has approximately is 1,100 people. And Kumamoto is located is west side. As you may know, Tokyo is the east side, and Nagoya, Osaka, and Kumamoto is located is the west side in the Kyushu Island. And you can see the beautiful picture in the hot spring and Mount Aso. The TSMC has decided to move into the factory to the Kumamoto. Is one reason is the Kumamoto is enough the water in the underground because Mount Aso is as a big active volcano. Is a long time ago is just active to the volcano, and then to the now is almost thickness is 100 kilometer is under the ground. It's easy to keep to the water, and there is some gaps, so that we have enough the water in the Kumamoto area. So anyway, we have huge budget from the Japanese government, and then we decided to the 3 strategies for this project. One strategy is you can see to the first one is establishment of the 3D semiconductor, stacking the technology and support for the related industries. Second one is promotion of the collaborative social research. And the third one is the development of the research infrastructure. And just skip to the slide. And how to expand to the research work for the semiconductors. So you can see to the domestic field. So we invited to the 3 universities, like Tokyo University and Tohoku University, Kyushu University. All 3 kinds of the university has a branch office in the Kumamoto the university area. That is not only to the research work, but also there are 3 kinds of the university wanted to expand to the another the research field. And we are going to expand to some research work in the foreign universities. And one is we are planning to the good collaboration is IMEC in the Belgium. And also today is NYCU, the Lin Sensei, Lin Gakcho is coming here. So we collaborate to start into the NYCU and the other Taiwan's universities. And the other hand is if we only focus on to the semiconductor field, but also we are interested in the another research field. For example, you can see to the robotics field and also the smart agriculture project and VR and automatic mobile and environment, the water and the energy and some other research topics. So we wanted to invite it to the other university, and also we are planning to visit into the worldwide university, not only to USA, but also we are going to visit it to the Europe. So today is, of course, only focused on to the semiconductor field in this panel session, but Kumamoto is also interested into the research theme or studies. So if you are interested into the semiconductor field or another research topics, please ask me or contact, because my colleague is coming here. So we are very happy to discuss in the other research topics, of course, semiconductor. Thank you.
So thank you both, John and Miyake-san, sensei. So I will start with John, and a little bit different from the Kumamoto and other topic that we have covered today, but just to sort of step back, this is after all in the US. So could you explain what's the difference between ESPA, the Economic Security Promotion Act, which is in Japan, that Nishikawa-san has elaborately explained. The economic security is really driving the Japanese semiconductor and related policy, versus what I'm sure everybody in this room has heard about CHIPS Act. Can you describe just basic difference in their approach and how it's being utilized to maybe, I think that would be an interesting sort of topic to just cover. That's my question to you first.
Thank you. How much time you got? But a little bit the intent, I think, is reflected in the name. If you think about CHIPS, basically helpful incentives to induce production is literally the name of the act. And so it's this view of we're missing production, how do we augment that? I don't think of it as having quite as broad a scope down into materials as Japan's ESPA, for example. If you look at, there's like 20 different areas, well outside of semiconductors, that are defined under ESPA in sorts of ways. And then the intent around it, I thought Nishikawa-san actually kind of laid that out. Are these sort of commoditized? Are these areas where Japan has a really strong global capability? Or are these new and disruptive? And how does Japan sort of play in those? So I shouldn't say CHIPS doesn't have that. There is forward-looking stuff in CHIPS for human capital development. There was funding for research, funding for human capital. But I think that sort of intent, how do we protect what we have, augment and grow for the future, and look back at supply chains and also look ahead. And Nishikawa-san used the term weaponization, so I'll use it, right? But shoring up vulnerabilities to either weaponization of supply or demand, right? It's clearly part of the intent behind Japan's ESPA. I'll pause there.
Sorry. Thank you. And now we are ending at 4:45, right?
That's right.
Yes. So I would
So
like...
you get to ask him the
Yes,
hard
will.
question.
I will ask each one of you a question, and then maybe if there's a time, I would like to open up for those of you who might have questions to any one of those panelists. Please write up or raise your hands at the end. So Miyake-san, my question is, I think different presentations today have talked about the Japanese current strength, which is manufacturing, but the semiconductor process, starts from design, manufacturing, packaging, back end, and after all, having to find the markets. But from your perspective, education of the talent in Kumamoto, how are we enhancing the talent for the design engineers, which Japan historically really hasn't had a lot of talent? I mean, there are certain companies who have concentrated talent in there, but how are you trying to nurture that talent in Japan?
I fully agree in this point because that is most important thing. Because if some engineer or student only focus on to the research area, like physics, chemist, that is not good. Because much more talent is most important. But unfortunately, the first step is our Kyushu area is don't have any enough engineer, like 1,200 engineer is really needed, because TSMC or another company, supply chain is really needed to the engineer. So first is the Kumamoto University or other university focus on to how to make it to the engineer for the university. So our university is making to the new course. I said to the Kumamoto is a long history, is 75 years ago is established the Kumamoto University, but we never to start into the new school. But 2 years ago, we just set up to the new course, which is interdisciplinary or the information study. So that we combine to the digital and information science and semiconductor. So I hope to some student is study to not only to the semiconductor, but also the widely to mind to the digital thinking and logical thinking. And some student is really study to some entrepreneur or how to make into the company, for example. So that is, I fully agree to the next step is we prepare to the study much more detail of the design thinking.
Thank you. John, did you have something to add?
I actually wanted to go back to your first question for a second, if I could.
Oh,
There's
please.
a couple of
Yes.
breadcrumbs. And this is gets the commonalities and difference between CHIPS and ESPA. Again, both refer to whole of government effort, meaning different branches. So in the US, not just commerce, for example, but states should be involved. In Japan, ESPA calls that out very clearly. One of the things that's really leapt out since starting the project is the degree of continuity that is evident in Japan's initiatives in particular. So Nishikawa-san's been in the same role, relatively the same role, or he keeps growing roles, but he doesn't seem to surrender them for 6+ years. And I think continuity of staff at the implementation level has been really important. So the US CHIPS Act was actually formulated under Trump 1, implemented under Biden, now we're back on Trump 2. The people who are in the CHIPS office, some are gone, some are there, they're doing different things. So we've had a lot of discontinuity. The legislators who worked on the CHIPS Act, some of them are no longer in office. For example, Sherrod Brown is no longer Senator of Ohio, for example. So I think administrative continuity, but also the evidence of coordination between industry and academia and government has been really just leapt out over the course of this project. So I would put that as a strength. And actually, if there's one thing I would want to take away from that, that's something that's really leapt out as an enabler in the Japan case.
I think that's very well said. I was in some meetings last year where a US government official that I was talking to said, well, even within our ministry, I won't name which one, that depending on who you talk to, you get different answers. And I'm like, wow, that would never happen in Japan. So that's to a point that it's the sort of, and so there's definitely the strength of the consistency and commitment that you can rely and trust in the Japanese system. I'm not here to just sell Japan, but I think that is my lived experience. So thank you for that, John. And Kato-san, I was having a conversation with Kato-san in advance of this, and he had some interesting thoughts about how the Japanese educational system in nurturing the talent for the semiconductor space could learn from other places, and to the extent that if it's appropriate, if you can just sort of speak to that. I think that was very informative to me.
Okay, thank you. Today we have NYCU President Lin, and he explained a very good introduction to their course material for semiconductor education. And we have our engineering site in Taiwan, in Taipei, and also in Hsinchu. And our engineers conducted Taiwanese universities, of course, Chaotung Yamin Chaotung Taxue is also. And what we have noticed is they're a very good semiconductor education system. And actually, we'd like to send our engineers to get a degree in Taiwan University for semiconductor design. What impressed me is the coverage of the technology area. Of course, manufacturing process, design chips for a complicated one, and even for the software development that extract best performance out of the semiconductors. And the industry, like a TSMC or UMC or MediaTek, they are associate vendors, so they create some good technical courses even for software. So my point is, why don't we collaborate Japanese university with Taiwan university? For example, Kumamoto University can have a joint degree course. If one student enter Kumamoto University, they have a chance to study Yamin Chaotung Taxue for their higher degree. And that will be very helpful. And if you have a strong industry there, you have a very strong education system, because that's what the industry requires. So I believe semiconductor technology is very good in Taiwan. So why don't we just copy the courses and bring it to Japan, and then we digest them. If we have something extra, we add some materials. That's the quickest way for Japan to catch up on the semiconductor technology, including software. That is my intention.
I thought that was really, President Lin, I think you have an opportunity to brand name, trademark your course material. Unfortunately, I have 1 more minute. If there is anybody in the audience who are dying to ask questions, please raise your hand. Yes, Brian?
Helps if you know the monitor.
So, you made a great case for Kumamoto. It's clearly a wonderful location for what you're doing. Why Arizona?
Oh, gosh. I'll take that. I ask that question also sometimes. In clustering or in class, we might say, well, it's already there. It's not a cold start. Intel's been there for a long time, for example. There are other suppliers there. You can debate the water, but the water is there enough. The land plot there is actually 10x the size of the one in Kumamoto. So a lot of the assets and capabilities there, the scale up that really needs to happen is actually in education. And to an extent with suppliers. Some suppliers have been able to run over, some suppliers have been harder. But I think that was a case of a site that already had a lot of the inputs that you would want, and TSMC wouldn't have to invent everything. And you can sort of test that by saying, well, would you go to Hillsboro or would you go to Ohio? Would you go to Austin? Those are really your choices if you were to choose in the US market. It wouldn't be in California, for better or for worse. So hopefully that answers your question.
I think there was also the talent, because of the Intel and others that are already there. There's an infrastructure of the talent that is existing. Well, Thank you, Kato-san, Miyake-sensei, and John-sensei. Thank you for a robust conversation, and thank you all for the attention.